Hello, students. One more topic, ambiguity. So, here we are going to discuss these points. So, let us start with introduction. Okay, ambiguity. Languages are essential tools for human to communicate with each other and record and transfer information every day. So, language plays very important role in our life, human life, because we use the very most of the time we use language for communication. So that is for record and for transfer information. Every day we use language, and it is difficult to imagine the situation without language delivery. So even human being cannot imagine communication without language. Animals, some animals like ants, they communicate, so they are mute animal, right? They don't make noise. Birds have limited voice. Then animals have limited voice, but humans have a very good coding system which is called language. Okay, so however, a natural language is not so perfectly designed to transfer all the information in an expected way. So like normal language is not so perfectly designed to transfer, right? So that is not kind of frame, right, where you just fit the sentences and speak. Language is not like that. That frame is given, you just have to put the words and then start speaking. No, language is impromptu. Language is what we can say, that without preparation we speak a lot. So language cannot be prepared in the structured frame, right? Now, more or less, some flaws in language are inevitable, such as the ambiguity of a language, which causes confusion in people's common utterances. So that's a flaw. Some flaws, some shortcomings. We know that is inevitable. That is somewhere unavoidable, right? And that causes confusion in people utterances. So that flaws is very natural, generally speaking, right? There are often certain ambiguous words and sentences appearing in humans utterances and acquiring more precise clarification from speakers. So sometimes we ask that, okay, what do you mean? Sorry, I could not get, right. Why? Because of ambiguity, right? Because of confusion. Different interpretations of the same utterance may result in various interpretations, and the difficulty of comprehension is of listeners. So different interpretations of of same utterance, same message is given, but different interpretations are there, and then interpretation and difficulty of which are then difficulty of comprehension is arises to listeners. It is actually a quite common phenomenon among different languages. So it's not problem of English only. That's in other languages also such problem is arise. This kind of possible different interpretations in technically called ambiguity, and that confusion is called ambiguity. So now ambiguity. Ambiguity is a type of uncertainty of meaning in which several interpretations are plausible. It is thus an attribute of any idea or statement whose intended meaning cannot be definitely resolved according to a rule or process with a finite number of steps. The MB part of name reflect an idea of two as in two meanings, right? So MB means more than two or more than two. So ambiguity is type of uncertainty, right? So that's the uncertainty of meaning in which several interpretations are possible, plausible, right? It is an attribute of any idea or statement which intended meaning cannot be definitely resolved according to rules. So what rule? Sometimes we follow rule. John eats bread, then John eats bread, right? And bread eats John? No. However, according to noun, then verb, then noun. So John eats bread, right? And then bread eats John, right? But that is not acceptable. Ambiguity, right? So now that is MB means more two or more than two meanings. The concept of ambiguity is generally contrasted with Vengeance, with vagueness, right? So the concept of ambiguity is generally contrasted with vagueness because uh, concept is not clear, and in ambiguity, specific and distinct interpretations are permitted, although some may not be immediately obvious. Whereas with information that is vague, it is difficult to form any interpretation at the desired level of specificity. The concept of ambiguity is generally contrasted with vagueness, means ambiguity more than one meaning, vagueness not clear. So both are different concepts. The ambiguity specific and distinct interpretations are permitted, although some may not be immediately obvious. So that is immediately we are not getting what's a meaning. So number of meanings are there, and that is ambiguity. But whereas with information that is vague, and then when there is a vague information means what? Difficult to form any interpretation. So one is more interpretation more than one or number of interpretation, and in another case like vague there is no interpretation. So please understand, don't get confused between both the ideas. Now context may play a role in resolving ambiguity. So what's the solution? So that is context, right? For example, the same piece of information may be ambiguous in one context and unambiguous in another, right? Moreover, ambiguity plays a major role in semantics, such that meaning one of the four major wings in linguistics, right? So context, sometime if context is different, so that in that particular context sentence is ambiguous, in that another context this is unambiguous, right? So that is, and then mm, uh, ambiguity plays a major role in semantics, right? Meaning, that is very important, that is one of the four wings of linguistics. Okay, now common examples of ambiguity. So that is, first is a good life depends on a liver. Liver may be an organ or simply living a person, right? So that's a liver, living person, that is liver, or liver may be an organ. Okay, now foreigners are hunting dogs. It is unclear whether dogs were being hunted or foreigners are being spoken as spoken of as dogs. So that is another example. Then each of us saw her duck. It is not clear whether the word duck refers to an action of ducking or duck that is a bird, right? So that duck, duck as a verb or duck as a bird. Okay. Now the passerby helps dog bite victim. So that's a passerby helping a dog bite someone. Or is he helping a person bitten by a dog? So passerby helps bite victim. So that's a passerby helps dog bite victim. First interpretation. So here helping a dog bite someone, right? So that is first inter. Or he he helping a person bitten by a dog? So first is that's a the passerby helps dog bite victim, right? Passerby helping a dog bite someone. So helps passerby helps dog bite victim, right? So here passerby helping a dog bite someone, helping a dog bite someone, or this one. Okay. Now various causes in ambiguity: polysemy, homonymy, punctuation while writing, pause while speaking or reading. Polysemy. Polysemy is the association of one word with two or more distinct meaning. A polysemy, that is one association of one word with two association of one word with two or more distinct meaning, right? Example, we'll see. Polysemy is a word or phrase with multiple meanings, right? Or polysemy is a word or phrase, right? It can be word, it can be phrase with multiple meanings. Adjective, polysemous or polysemic. Okay, now means adjective polysemous means polysemous word, polysemous phrase this way. Example of polysemy: arms bend at the elbow. Germany sells arms to Saudi Arabia. Right? So that's the arms bent at the elbow. Our organs like our hand. And Germany sells arms to Saudi Arabia. Right? Boil the solution once with salt and once with sugar. Once Germany had surrendered, the Soviets were free to enter the conflict against Japan. Is economics an arts subject or science subject? All income is subject to tax, right? Here subject as a course, here subject is matter. While the family was in the garden, an intruder enters the house. While your answer is correct, it is not complete. Work out the solution in your head. Here, the solution to 75% Celsius. So, this is all about polysemy, because polysemy word or phrase, problem of in word or phrase. That's a problem in word and phrase, multiple meanings. Homonymy or multiple meaning word are words that share the same spelling and same spelling and same pronunciation but have different meanings, right? So that's a same spelling and same. So these are bear, left, pole. Okay. Now a bear, the animal, can bear tolerate very cold temperatures. The driver turned left opposite to right and left departed from the main road. The first pole refer, refers to a citizen of Poland who could either be referred to as Polish or Pole. The second pole refers to bamboo pole or any other wooden pole. Now, next problem is punctuation. Punctuation and pause plays a vital role while writing, speaking and reading. Proper punctuation and pause can save lives and do wonders. So punctuation is very important part. I love cooking my pets and family. The first sentence is ridiculous and funny without commas. So I love my pets and my family. In this sentence, I love cooking my pets and my family. Let's cook mom. Let's cook mom. So thus there are some of the causes of ambiguity which makes language and people funny at times. Okay. So here I love cooking my pets and my family. So that is not clear, right? Why ridiculous and funny? Because sentence should sound I love cooking my pets and my family. Different sentences. Okay. Now types of ambiguity. William Ampson was the first to write and publish the book titled Seven Types of Ambiguity. So William Ampson has written this. In this work, he critiqued poetry, regarded ambiguity as the highest creative skill. Yes, poetry has number of interpretations. That's why it's a highly creative work and ambiguous, we can say. It was one of the most influential critic works of 21st century and was a key foundation work in the formation of the new criticism school. So he has William Ampson has given a very influential critic work, that is we have seen that the name is Seven Types of, this is the famous book of William Ampson, Seven Types of Ambiguity, in which he described seven types of ambiguity, and that's a part of new criticism school. Okay. Now though he found these seven types, linguists focus on three main categories of them which play a major role in linguistics while analyzing sentences. So he talked about seven and linguists talked about three types of ambiguity. So what are they? Let us discuss. Lexical ambiguity, any ambiguity resulting from ambiguity of a word which has multiple parts of speech. So that's a lexical ambiguity resulting from ambiguity of a word. So that's a lexical means word, right? Word which has multiple parts of speech. So then one word which may be a verb, which may be an adjective, or which may be a noun, right? For example, I need a pen to pen a poem, right? So here I need a pen, that's a noun. I need to pen, that's a verb, right? Okay. In this example, the word pen is used twice with with two different meaning and parts of speech, which is ambiguous. Thus, this is a vital example of lexical ambiguity. Another two, example two, the fisherman went to the bank. Here, the word bank is ambiguous, right? Because bank is river bank or bank is financial building. That's a bank, okay? Now, example three, she looked at the ball happily. So here, ball has a meaning, different meaning, two meanings. That's the first is normal cricket ball. Number two, party or a gathering. Okay. Now, polysemy and homonymy are the types of lexical ambiguity. So, polysemy and homonymy, right? That is lexical ambiguity. Now, number two, syntactic or structural ambiguity. Structural or syntactic ambiguity refers to the situation in which sentence may have different meanings, right? So that's a situational problem. Situation. Different meaning because the word of a sentence are related to each other in various ways, even though each word is clear and unconnected. Example, old man and women, two possible meaning, right? Old man and women, all old men and young women, because old men, this is old, but women are maybe young, or old men and old women, this way. Now, John saw the boy with telescope, right? Two possible. John saw the boy through his telescope, right? So here through his telescope, and John saw the boy who was holding the telescope. Okay. Now, semantic ambiguity. Semantics is nothing but meaning, right? Semantics is meaning. If a word or a phrase is ambiguous in its meaning, then we call it as semantic ambiguity, right? Word or phrase is ambiguous. So that is even after the syntax and the meaning of the individual words have been resolved. So that is semantic, and this is even after the syntax and the meaning of individual words have been resolved. There are two ways of reading the sentence. I saw Rachel and glasses on her hand. I saw Rachel with glasses on her hand. This may give arise to meaning glasses and glasses, right? Glasses, eyeglasses, and glass with beer or wine. Now, example, John and Mary are married. Two possible, right? Are they married each other, right? So that is each other or separately. To avoid these kinds of uncertainty, of unnecessary ambiguities, we may instead be plain and clear, like the following: John and Mary got engaged last month. Now John and Mary are married. Thus, these are the major types of ambiguity, where other types that linguistic linguists and other school argue could be exhausted. Now, advantage of ambiguity. So, cognitive scientists develop a new take on an old problem: why human language has so many words with multiple meaning. Why did language evolve? While the answer might seem obvious as a way for individual to exchange information. So why language? Because language is evolved to exchange information. Linguists and other students of communication have debated this question for years, and many prominent linguists, including MIT's Noam Chomsky, have argued that language is in fact poorly designed for communication. Such a use, they say, is merely a byproduct of a system that probably evolved for other reasons, perhaps for structuring our own private thoughts. As evident, these linguists point to the existence of ambiguity. Means they are saying that linguists say that language was invented for another purpose, and that's a byproduct, because what they say that that's a byproduct, and perhaps for a structuring of own private, perhaps it was developed for own thought, and that's a byproduct, right? And then linguists point to the existence of ambiguity in a system optimized for conveying information between a speaker and a listener. They argue each other would have just one meaning, eliminating any chance of confusion or misunderstanding. Now, a group of MIT cognitive scientists have returned this idea on its head in a new theory. They claim that ambiguity actually makes language more efficient. So, this is a new concept, that ambiguity makes language more efficient by allowing for the reuse of short, efficient sound that listeners can easily disambiguate with the help of context. Like various people have said, ambiguity is a problem for communication, says Ted Gibson, an MIT professor for cognitive science and senior author of a paper describing the research to appear in the journal Cognition. But the fact that, to what he says that Ted Gibson says that various people have just this idea that's a problem for communication, but the fact that context disambiguates has important ramifications for the reuse of potentially ambiguous forms. Ambiguity is no longer a problem. It is something that you can take advantage of, because you can reuse easy words in different contexts over and again and over again. What do you mean? For a somewhat ironic example of ambiguity, consider the word mean. It can mean, of course, to indicate or signify, but it can also refer to an intention or purpose. I mean to go to the store. Something offensive or nasty, or the mathematical average of a set of numbers. Adding NS introduces even more potential definitions: an instrument or method, a mean to an end, or financial resources to live without one's mean. But this is actually why this I'm not reading, but yeah, why it is good. Ambiguity is good, right? So that is something that's not important right now. Now, example, ambiguity in literature, which is important. Here I'm telling you, right? First example, The Lady or the Tiger by Frank, right? So these are the ambiguities. Then we find ambiguity in first line of John Keats' Ode to a Grecian Urn. Thou still unravished bridge of quenting. That will be tough, so I'm not explaining right now. So this is somewhat okay. So that ambiguity is a vast area in linguistics which has many types according to many critics and schools. Okay, but all these could be exhausted in the three discussed above. So that is uh, lexical, syntactic, and semantic ambiguity. Lexical, any ambiguity resulting from ambiguity of word, right, which has multiple parts of speech. Syntactic, structural or syntactic, that is ambiguity refers to the situation in So that is which creates from situation in which sentence may have different meanings because the words of sentence are related to each other in various ways, even though each word is clear and unconnected. Semantic is meaning. If a word or phrase is ambiguous in its meaning, then we call it a semantic ambiguity. So that is called semantic, means word or phrase is ambiguous. Okay, so then that is even after the syntax or meaning of individual words have been resolved. So that's a what they say that even after the syntax and meaning of individual words have been resolved, there are two ways of reading the sentence, and as it is discussed above, ambiguity is much helpful in language and literature, which is which in literature is used by author with an intention to grasp the readers towards the text. So that is something about ambiguity, right? So I have read a little, but yes, more or less we have discussed that's about the ambiguity, right? So here we discuss introduction of ambiguity, then what's the ambiguity, then examples of ambiguity, and then causes are these are the causes of ambiguity, right? And then different these are the different types of ambiguity, right? So types of ambiguity here we have discussed mainly three types of ambiguity, right? So here I think you must have got it right. Advantage I have left in the middle because not required right now. That is enough for ambiguous sentences. Now practical, some of the examples we are going to discuss later on. Thank you so much. God bless you.